He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Say you need to feed a lot of people.
I'd cook something with rice because it's quite filling.
We make a big batch lasagna that can feed a lot of people but also cheap to make.
What would be your go-to?
Tends to be lentil based. It goes a long way for a very small cost.
A roast would be easier to slice up the meat quite thinly.
For me, it would be a giant nacho mix. But I'd have to think about it, because feeding a lot of people is an expensive business, isn't it? Kia ora, I'm Katy Gosset, and welcome to Thrift.
Our saying in this ep comes from Mother Teresa, who said, if you cannot feed 100 people, then feed just one, which is good advice. But what if you could feed 700 in one day, like these guys?
Hey, welcome to the Golden Club.
Tonight we have roast carrot and pumpkin dumplings in a tomato sauce.
And let's not forget dessert. I very seldom do. In this case,
Banana sticky date pudding with caramel sauce.
Yum! Sounds awesome.
we're in Ōtepoti, Dunedin at a community eatery where not only does the food look good, but the mains are between $4 and $8 and you can get a dessert or a drink for just $3.
So I've got effectively 3 meals, 2 desserts and a smoothie.
For $23?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. So with the current cost of food, how does this happen? Let's find out. We may not have to cook for 700 people. I'm hoping I never have to do that. But there are lessons that we can learn if we need to cook for a large group, a club, a school event. So let's dial it back to a couple of days earlier when I was welcomed to the bowling club for the first time.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for coming in on your day off.
Ah, it's good. Yes.
This is Liam Arthur, one of the bowling club's co-founders, and he's invited me here to start with when it's quiet, so he's got time to think and share some tips and show me round.
We're standing in the serving room, I guess you call it.
They've set up a queue system that zigzags around the room. Sometimes it goes all the way to the dining room, and sometimes
It goes through the doors and out the street and down the road. But not really anymore.
So what is this place exactly? Well, Liam set it up 3 years ago with his partner Jackie Bannon. They'd just come back from overseas and they were living in a van. And what really struck them,
The lack of places where you can sort of sit down and hang out and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. Felt like there was almost nowhere to go.
so they're trying to fill that gap. They've created a colourful, comfy environment with post-it notes everywhere. People write their compliments about the bowling club on them and stick them up on the wall. So the decor is thrifty for a start.
Everything's a wee bit mismatched, but it's kind of like that by design. People feel like there can be anyone here.
So let's get into the first of our tips, which, not surprisingly, is about the meals themselves. We all know that cheap meals tend to start with cheap ingredients.
I'd be looking in the reduced to clear stuff, but also buying in bulk.
Using whole ingredients are usually the cheapest way to go.
The bowling club's trying to do the same thing. What makes them different from you and me is that they're dealing with 500 or 600 kilos of food every day. That means a lot of veg. The more seasonal and therefore cheaper, the better.
Find different ways basically to combine vegetables and legumes with some sort of carb, and then that makes a meal.
So curries are a staple because they're easy to make in bulk, and easy is the name of the game. The bowling club started out as a vegetarian restaurant, and Liam admits the move to meat has complicated matters. His top tip when it comes to meals is keep it simple.
We always have mac and cheese, which is easy, and then we have a meal, and then veggie side or a meat side, but not both.
Then, once you've chosen a few dishes, take a really hard look at the recipes themselves. Do they have lots of long and fiddly steps? Working backwards, can you fit them in the time available? Because if it's all too complicated,
Otherwise, you just won't get it done on time. It will just be incredibly stressful.
and we've all been there. The next thing is, where do you buy your veggies? After starting life as a food truck, the bowling club now buys enough each week to be able to go to a wholesaler. But for other smaller groups or clubs or families, Liam reckons go to the source. Look for places where food is grown, like Canterbury.
That's where a lot of the canola oil is made. That's where beans and lentils are grown. Just finding out who's grown those things and buying from them in bulk.
Liam reckons some charitable organisations buy in bulk together and then have a divvy up. And we can do it too. Then there's the seasonal ups and downs. We all deal with fluctuating prices on things we use a lot.
For example, carrots. They're like such a staple for us.
Well, they're a staple in our household too, but whereas we use maybe a 1 kilo bag each week, for Liam,
We probably use 200 or 300 kilos a week.
so that's when you need workarounds, or the kind of recipes where you can swap out vegetables easily. So when carrots are pricey and broccoli's cheap,
You buy like 1,000 broccolis, and that's what you're cooking with this week.
and if in doubt, there's always old reliable, yes, potatoes, which Liam reckons are nearly always available and nearly always cheap. And then there are other staples which might be less well known.
We use a lot of pea flour, and we make a roux out of it.
They fry it in oil instead of butter, because, butter's expensive, and use it to thicken their sauces.
We know the pea flour is always there, it's always cheap.
And that helps the club ride things out when other prices go up and down.
So you're never too messed up if things change.
But the flip side of seasonal produce is you can sometimes get a real bargain.
The summer freezer here is just full of fruit.
During the summer, Liam reached out to some Central Otago orchardists. They had some produce that, because it had a few blemishes here and there, wasn't wanted for export. The bowling club bought 5 tonnes of it and turned it into puree.
Buy everything when it's in season, it's really cheap, and it's waste products, and turn it into something that people want to eat.
That is a fair bit of fruit though, so just remember, if you buy in bulk, make sure you've got somewhere to store it, or keep in mind who you're going to share it with. So the next thing is, how do you prepare a heap of food? Pretty daunting. We might have pared back our meals, the number of them, and the fussiness of the recipes, but that metaphor, a paring knife, isn't really going to cut it when we're talking about 500 to 600 kilos of food.
When you make food for your family, just chopping the carrots, it takes you 2 minutes.
But if you're cooking for 1,000 people, it could take a couple of hours.
Everything happens in slow motion, in a way.
But getting into tip 2 here, this is where equipment comes into its own.
You can make anything for 1,000 people if you've got the right gear.
So let's find out how.
So back here is where we bring in all the food,
Liam takes me on a bit of a tour around the site,
load it into our fridges.
pointing out a few bits and pieces that are kind of crucial to their bulk cooking operation.
Yeah, and then into our workshop where all of this sort of heavy work happens.
Hence the big guns.
It's just lots of gadgets.
Dough-related gadgets.
We've got this giant mixer that can mix about a couple 100 kilos of dough at once.
Large, scary gadgets that handle all the veggies.
And this is probably the most important machine, the slicer. Here is a grinder, and it takes something and turns it into tiny little pieces. And it's terrifying.
You get the idea. And on a normal workday, there would be 4 people in here, running all the machines. Which is important, because one of the ways the bowling club keeps its prices down is by buying whole food.
Everything's just raw material, so we're having to process everything from scratch, and doing that with 4 people. That's why we have all these machines.
Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody rush out and buy a giant grinder, but we've probably all got a blender or a food processor, and it's good to remember that we can use those devices to reduce a lot of the workload when we're planning a big meal.
So this is the start of the kitchen.
Because it is quite a big kitchen.
At night times, this is a busy room, and we've got our ovens in here.
But Liam points out there's not so much actual making of food that happens in this room.
It's sort of more for baking things off and cooking things.
And that's because most of the food is already partially cooked, and we can do this too. Build it into our prep, and then we only have a short cook before serving the food. Moving on to tip 3 now. This is an organisation set up to help people, so it stands to reason that the people involved in it are pretty important. Moana Kyle's been here since the start of 2025.
It's such a lovely place to work, talk to lovely people and see the effect this place has.
But managing staff was one of many new things that Liam and Jackie had to get their heads around when they started the business.
We want the team to feel like a family and that we really support each other. But at the same time, we got to think about, are we able to afford the wages this week?
The bowling club has previously won a grant from an independent business fund, but Liam says they don't want to have to rely on that.
For us, we feel like running this as a business is our best chance to be able to make this a lasting community service.
And that's meant reducing the workforce from 23 part-timers to about 12 regular workers. Liam's advice is that anyone handling this kind of large-scale food prep needs a small cohesive team.
Just having that tight-knit team who work together all the time, know what each other need, it's just so much smoother than having lots of casual staff who do bits here and there.
And when you have good people, you want to look after them. And that means the living wage and a really cool place to take your coffee break.
This is our smoko garden. It's a little sort of Zen garden looking thing.
Amye Martin is one of the regular staff who's been here a while.
I thrive on helping people. I've had some people that have cried for me or gone, I haven't eaten for 3 days, and I'm just like, oh my God, come here, give me a cup. Yeah, and they've left feeling loved, and that's the main thing for me.
Now there is another person who deserves a mention who was kind of the inspiration for this place, Liam's grandma. And while she's not here working in the kitchen, she does preside over her grandson's operation.
She's sort of life-sized airbrush portrait on this wall. And I think she's probably made about 150,000 scones in her life. Doesn't matter who you are, she'll feed you. Well, this is what this place is about.
So what do the customers think? Well, Liam and Jackie envisaged a place where people would just fall into conversation. And I did just that with Valeska Olivera. She says it happens all the time.
Sometimes sitting down at a big table and enjoy time with people you don't even know and start a conversation and have a good time.
The bowling club does have a way of drawing people in. Valeska used to just eat here and now she runs a dance class once a month. And then there's Gabrielle Gosling-Walker.
This is my usual spot where I set up for my mending.
She used to work here, but now she runs a Mend Wednesday night, where she brings her sewing machine and for a small koha, fixes any clothes they might bring along.
They need a hem done, they've ripped a pocket off or something, and they'll come and be like, hey Dad, can you fix it? And I'll be like, hell yeah.
Then we have family groups of all ages.
This place is awesome. It's a good meal and good vibe.
It's unpretentious and really good value.
It's so soul-filling, like not just belly-filling, but soul-filling.
And the bowling club also offers free meal vouchers for people who are really in need.
I was very financially strapped and they were really gracious. I got my meals for free, no questions asked, no judgment. Made me feel really welcome.
Liam says the bowling club is a work in progress. They're still honing some of these tips themselves. But have they achieved some of their goals? After speaking to their customers, I'd say the proof is in the pudding. And speaking of that, yes, of course, I bought some banana pudding with caramel sauce and took it home. And now, a recap. You may not be planning to cook for 700, but there are lessons for all of us. Whether you're feeding a sports team or helping at a school event, seek out bulk deals and go to the source. Get cheap produce you can divvy up with other people. Make a few simple meals with easy steps and do as much as you can in advance, using blenders and appliances to lighten the load. Pre-cook where possible, and do it with a small team who all work well together. Oh, and of course, if you're in Dunedin, you could drop in on the bowling club and meet some new people, get your clothes fixed, have a dance. Just be aware one thing you can't do at the bowling club is bowl.
We encourage people to bring their own containers or bowls, and that's why it's called the bowling club, because if you bring your own bowl, you save money.
And then you wash your own dishes and take them away, which might be the best tip of all. Next time on Thrift, a visit to the growing Pacifica community in Ashburton to hear tips on settling into a new country and how they managed to grow taro in the mid-Canterbury winter. For that episode and others, follow and listen to Thrift on your favourite podcast app. Many thanks to my guests in this set from the Bowling Club, Liam, Amye, Moana, Valeska and Gabrielle, and their customers. This episode was produced and presented by me, Katy Gosset. It was mixed by Alex Harmer, and Tim Watkin is the executive producer of podcasts and series. If you have a tip to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can email me at thrift@rnz.co.nz. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite.